get the meeting being recorded message. Hang on, everyone. Okay, good morning, everyone. I noticed the meeting being recorded message, so want to welcome everyone. This is Commissioner Dave Yamamoto. Today is Tuesday, November 1st. November already. It's amazing. November 1st, 2022. And we will call this meeting to order at 8:01 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. So again, this is our weekly community update. We do this every Tuesday morning. Special thanks to KTIL for broadcasting this live every Tuesday morning, which is greatly appreciated. So I want to welcome everyone to our community update call. Let's do a Board of Commissioners roll call. I do need to announce that Commissioner Bell is not able to join us this morning, but I'll bet we have Commissioner Scar with us.
Good morning. You do have Commissioner Scar.
Good morning. And again, this is Commissioner Dave Yamamoto. So moving into our agenda, I just got a message not 10 minutes ago from Eric Swanson. He is away from Tillamook County this morning. He's at a meeting. So Eric Swanson will not be with us. So guess what? We're moving right into the Coastal Caucus. And I know we have Representative Gomberg with us. I'm not sure that I see Suzanne Weber.
I'm
Suzanne,
here.
Are you with it? You are, perfect.
I'm
okay.
with you.
I will just turn this directly over to the Coastal Caucus. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy post-Halloween. I was surprised last night at the number of trick-or-treaters I didn't have. You know, some years I've had upwards of 300, and this year I probably had 65. But the costumes were just wonderful, and it was so good to see all of the kids out there. And they were acting very appropriately and very grateful, and so that was really nice. I had a really busy week last week. I was able to attend the 31st annual Clatsop Forestry Tour, and it was an all-day event, and we looked at post-salvage, regeneration, thinning. We had reports from Hampton. We had reports from Nadine Block from the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, and we looked at logging up in the area of the place called Drake's Quarry, where they are using something called a grapple head for logging and how it all works on the hillside. It was fascinating. But I thought the most fascinating thing was the drone usage that they are using in logging demonstration, and how they are laying the lines, carrying the equipment, and being able to fight fire with the hoses and the lines with the drones. And there's a company in Banks that manufactures them and sells them, and they're doing a great business, and it's really improving how fires are fought, especially in steep areas and heavily forested areas. And sometimes a drone in 30 seconds can do what a man will take probably 3 hours to do, to be able to lay these lines through the forest. So that was a really fascinating demonstration to be able to witness. I also attended the education workforce update with Senator Dembro, because there's a whole list of policies to enhance the recruitment of teachers and to help with our paraprofessionals that are also in the classroom. And so we had a long meeting to discuss all of there's 12 of them, so I'm not going to really go into them right here, but you'll be hearing more about the initiatives that will be coming out of that committee, because we are suffering a severe teacher and work shortage in our country. And we've got to, with all of the reports on education being as dire as they have been, we've got to do something positive to make sure that our future is guaranteed and our kids are taken care of. I also was appointed to the advisory committee of the Coastal Oregon Marine Experimentation Station Committee. I don't get to talk, which is just fine, but it's really an opportunity to be able to learn about what is going on our coastline. And this was about a 5-hour meeting on Friday. And the reports were focused on the impact of the seafood industry and seafood processing and fisheries and fish populations and aquaculture and seafood wastewater, which is something that is an issue also from the processing of seafood. And then we got into a very extensive discussion of the offshore wind energy and what that will mean, especially to the South Coast. And I had no idea exactly how big these structures that were going to go into the ocean were. And these wind generating blades and this are going to be twice the height of Statue of Liberty. So they're going to make quite an impact on the viewshed of the ocean. And yes, they will be out there a long ways from the shore, but there are so many unknowns associated with it that the group is going to have, it's called COMS, is going to have an additional meeting to discuss all of the implications of that offshore wind. Because, we're different here than the East Coast, and the impact on our seafood is going to be different, and our fishermen and all of the related industries. So that is a big concern at the present time. I was also attended the Marie Mills meeting and learned what they're doing, and they're moving forward. They take such good care of our people. They're moving forward to increase the number of social events that people have so that people can get out and interact, which is so important. And I finished out the week with the FFA alumni banquet. And this was held at the fairgrounds. It was a wonderful meal. It was a great silent auction and oral auction, live auction also, to raise money for our FFA. And it was so nice to see the kids and see them participating, hear them speaking. And the FFA in our community is so important. And I believe that we are the largest FFA chapter in the state, which I think speaks highly to the leadership, the Bush family that has done so much for FFA and bringing it forward. So there was just one other comment I wanted to make this morning, and that is, have you noticed the gateway signs to the museum? Aren't they special? They really look nice. And so whoever is responsible for those new gateway signs for the museum, nice work because they are beautiful signs. And then I also got to be at the opening of the new sports facility down at the high school on Friday night and saw the football game and how well our kids did, and congratulations on their Cooperative League championship. And the field is just, it's just stellar. It's really, really nice. And so it's going to be a good place for our kids to be able to play. And I also want to acknowledge soccer and volleyball also. So great job, kids. Great job. Great representation of our county and our community. So thank you. And that concludes my report. And once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to be able to be here and do this.
Thank you, Representative Weber, as always, for being here, being with us this morning. And now we'll turn it over to Representative Gomberg.
Well, thank you, Commissioners, and good morning, Tillamook County. Happy November. I don't think I need to remind anybody that a week from today is Election Day. And I certainly don't want to steal any thunder from our very excellent county clerk, but I wanted to remind people that that when the ballots are turned in and begin to be counted, that you can go to your county clerk's webpage to find out the results of local elections. And if you're interested in other elections that may go beyond the borders of Tillamook County, like the legislature or the state senate or judicial races, the labor commissioner, or the very important governor's race that's underway, you can track results there on the Secretary of State's election page. And they will be updating that information regularly as the beginning at 8 o'clock, and then as more ballot returns come in through the course of the evening. I also wanted to remind people that because of new rules that are in place right now, that we may not see the results of all of these contests on the evening of the 8th of November. And part of the reason for that is because we now say that as long as your ballot is postmarked by the 8th, that it can be still counted. That way, if you put your ballot in the mail, you are not depending on the United States Post Office, as good as they are, to get it there in time. If the ballot is postmarked, it will be counted. The other issue is that that the county clerk, of course, verifies the signatures on the outside of your ballot envelopes against the signature they have on file to make sure that everything is working appropriately. And if signatures don't appear to match, they will contact you and ask you to verify your signature. Commissioners, I don't know about you, but I registered to vote about 35 years ago at this location, and my signature may have changed slightly over the course of the last 35 years. So some people will be getting notes from the county clerk asking them to come in and confirm their signatures so their ballots can be counted. The final thing I want to say about elections in this last week is all the attention, all the advertising, and so much of the media is focused on the statewide races and our congressional races, and to a lesser but somewhat equal degree on our legislative contests. But we need to pay equal attention down the ballot to those important local contests. County commissioner, mayor, city council, and those all important local districts, whether it be a fire district or water district, those people have an incredible impact on your day-to-day lives. And as I often say, these are the folks that are deciding whether the pothole in front of your house gets filled, clean water comes out of the tap, or the quality of education your kids get. Please give proper attention to those races as well, and the good people that are offering themselves for those very, very important positions. Get your ballots in. The sooner they are in, the sooner your phone will stop ringing, and we can move on and watch for the results next Tuesday evening. I wanted to mention a couple of other things that are coming up in the next week. Veterans Day, of course, very, very important. And our county veterans coordinators are now offering a new national program where they're encouraging public buildings and private businesses and private homes to display at least one green light bulb in a public area to show our respect and appreciation for those that have served. So I expect to see county courthouses across the state lit up with green bulbs, and I'm hoping to see the same thing in our business districts and in our residential districts. green bulbs to respect our veterans. Next Sunday morning, late Saturday night, we're changing our clocks again, commissioners. Gosh, you know, every time we do this, I hope it's the last time we're going to do it. I will remind you that here in Oregon, the legislature has already voted to stop changing our clocks. But we need to make sure that California and Washington do the same thing so that we're all on the same schedule here on the West Coast. Now, Washington has done the same thing. California's dragging their feet. But we're hoping to get that fixed before we have to change our clocks again next spring. I'll also tell you that in Washington, D.C., at the federal level, they're considering a bill to just simply eliminate the time change nationally. I'm hoping that that moves forward as well, but no pun intended, time will tell. So let's hope again that this is the last time we change our clocks. I appreciate Representative Weber making mention of the fire season and the investments the legislature made to do a better job of containing our fires. 96% of the fires that started in Oregon this fire season were contained before they exceeded 10 acres. 96% of them. That's only happened twice in the last 10 years. I hope it becomes the norm rather than an abnormality. But we're putting new resources, we're putting new equipment on the line, including, as she mentioned, drones. We are hiring more firefighters at the local level, and I hope that we can begin to beat back this annual devastation with fires spreading out of control rather than controlling them early. She also mentioned wind energy, and those wind energy devices are scheduled to be placed off the southern Oregon coast. This is an initiative by our federal government, but it's an Oregon-wide issue because the people that fish off the southern Oregon coast live and are based out of ports in the central Oregon coast. These are our prime fishing grounds. And so putting these huge devices into the primary areas where we are doing most of our fishing is going to have a severe impact on our local fishing fleets. And we need to make sure that as we struggle to create new renewable energy sources and create new jobs, that we're not eliminating good current jobs in the process and having an unfair and inappropriate impact on our natural resources industry. I'm going to be meeting tomorrow with the Oregon Offshore Wind Economic Study Technical Advisory Committee. Boy, that's a mouthful, but it's one more group that we're talking to about taking a second look at the question of wind energy, whether it's cost effective and whether we're putting it in the right place and what the impact is going to be on our fishing fleet and our environmental concerns off the coast with these devices going into the middle of the California current, affecting our upwelling and potentially affecting with electromagnetic waves, everything from radar with our Coast Guard to the migration patterns of our whales. Big issue, and we need to pay proper attention to it. So those are a couple of things that I have for you, commissioners. The Coastal Caucus is going to be meeting next week, and we are hoping to, at that point, be welcoming at least one new member to the group with the results of our Tuesday election, and then having our own caucus elections to determine who is going to be chairing the Coastal Caucus going forward into the next cycle. So that's the news that I've got for you today. I know Representative Weber and I would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Representative Gumberg. Do we have any questions for any of our Coastal Caucus members? I would just like to make a comment on a couple of items that both of you mentioned, and I do appreciate this very much. Both of you mentioned the past fire season, which was, in my mind, it was not a bad fire season at all. And kudos to ODF, Oregon Department of Forestry. I mean, I've got my issues with ODF and the Board of Forestry, but when it comes to fighting fires, there is no organization that does this better all across the nation in fighting fires. They just jump on them immediately, unlike the federal government, who takes a wait and see attitude, which oftentimes results in huge conflagrations. ODF, I mean, men and women of the Oregon Department of Forestry are out there right away, and they are just exceptional at doing what they do. And kudos to the Oregon Department of Forestry. Both Representative Weber and Representative Gomberg also mentioned offshore wind. And I am the North Coast Commissioner Representative on OPAC, the Ocean Policy Advisory Council. And both of you are very correct. There are so many unanswered questions. We keep asking questions of BOEM, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management. And unfortunately, it's much like the Oregon Department of Forestry when we're talking about the HCP and the FMP and things of that nature. We just don't get answers. We do not. So there are all sorts of things going on, endangered species, concerns with not only whales, migrating fish. Representative Gomberg talked about the upwelling of the California current. Terrestrial wind in eastern Oregon. We've got huge issues with raptors, bald eagles, and other endangered species of raptors flying into those wind turbines and being killed. It's very easy terrestrially. You just need to walk underneath the turbines once a week and you can count the number of dead raptors that you have. These floating offshore wind devices, they're going to be doing the same things. And we have a lot of offshore species of birds that fly out there, marbled murrelet and albatross and things of that nature. And the concerns are real, except when an endangered species flies into an offshore floating wind device, it falls into the ocean, never to be seen again. And again, these are just issues, one of the many issues that we continue to bring up to BOEM and get no answers for. So again, for both of you, I appreciate very much you staying on top of all these things. And with that, I think we will move on. So let's go to Tillamook Community Health Center. Do we have Marlene Putman and/or Ed Colson with us?
Hello, good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, Tillamook County. It's Ed Colson with the Health Department.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. So as of October 26th, just want to let the impact of COVID-19 in Tillamook County is low, with 1.3 per 100,000 new hospital admissions related to COVID-19 and a 0.5% per 100,000 of staffed inpatient beds being occupied by a patient with confirmed COVID-19. Now, the spread of COVID-19 within the county is high because we have a test positivity rate above 10%. It's just 10.94%. So we're just slightly above the high mark there. So we just want to remind everyone to stay up to date with their COVID-19 vaccines, especially as we go into the winter season. Please get tested if you have symptoms. Wear a mask if you have symptoms, a positive test, or exposure to someone with COVID-19. And continue to wear a mask on public transportation and in healthcare settings. And individuals may choose to wear a mask at any time as an additional precaution to protect yourself and others. We wanted to take a minute and appreciate everyone's patience with us that had turned out to the DEA Drug Take-Back Day and vaccine event at the fairgrounds this last Saturday. We had a bigger turnout than we expected, and at one point, we had 5 vaccinators administering at one time. Within the next coming weeks, we will have numbers on our vaccines administered, sharps that were collected by the Solid Waste Department, and unused medications from the Sheriff's Office for those interested. Please stay up to date with vaccinations because that's the best protection against flu and COVID-19 as we move into the fall and winter with higher spread of both expected. So we have some upcoming dates for vaccine clinics. On Thursday, the 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Veterans Stand Down at the Tillamook County Fairgrounds. And then this Sunday, the 6th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Sacred Heart Catholic Church Parish Hall. This is going to be staffed with all bilingual representatives and will be a Spanish-speaking vaccine clinic. And then Monday, the 7th, and Tuesday, the 8th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the fairgrounds. Now, these are the last walk-in clinics the health center will be hosting for the year. To find other places to get an updated COVID-19 booster, you can visit getvaccinated.oregon.gov or call 211. And that's our report from the health department.
Thank you so much, Ed. Appreciate that very much. Any questions for Ed Colson? Thank you as always, Ed. We would go to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail has told me, has emailed me and said she would not be available today. So let's go directly to the Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank Hanna Williams. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Commissioners. Frank Hanna Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. You can reach us at this number, 503-842-8201, for information regarding services, to confirm appointments or any other questions that you may have for us. We are, also just announcing that we're in the process of working to expand on the number of in-person and face-to-face services that we provide. We're probably going to wind up having a bit more of a hybrid format here at the agency, but right now we're in the process of making some transitions to that. We ask that you be patient and work with us as we make that transition. And again, if you have any questions about any of our services and appointments, please give us a call at that number, 503-842-8201. And I will take any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you for being with us, Frank. Any questions for Frank Hanna Williams? Thank you, Frank. Let's go to the Sheriff's Office. Do we have Sheriff Josh Brown with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners. I am here.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Not a whole lot to report on. Want to say how much fun it was being at the courthouse passing out candy yesterday. I was very happy that the leadership team decided that it was appropriate to reopen the courthouse. We saw a lot of kids come through there, a lot of big smiles, a lot of really cool costumes. So it was a lot of fun. I don't think right out of the gate that they realized that there was candy upstairs and downstairs, so we started making sure that they were aware of that. Hopefully everybody got a bunch of trick-or-treaters coming by. We went through a lot of candy, but that's okay because the smiles were worth it. So it was very fun being a part of that and seeing the kids' face and being able to dress up. So on a little bit more of a serious note, we did have a call last week. We made a very short press release on our social media regarding this matter, but we had deputies respond to a report of 2 deceased persons in South Tillamook County. So I basically can confirm that was a call that we did take. What I can say is that the investigation is very active and ongoing right now, so I'm not going to be able to say much more about it. We are very protective of what we release and certain privacy issues, and we balance that with the community's need to be informed about such matters. But if we are able, and that is very important that people understand, is that if we are able to release more information, we will. If it's strictly a medical type call, then we will respect privacy and not pass along that information, but we will try to update as we are able. And as I said, if we are able, we will update. But, those are the realities of some of the calls that we take. And it did actually happen, like I said, we'll release more when and if we are able. So aside from that, I have nothing else, and I can answer any questions if there are some.
Thanks for being with us, Sheriff Brown. Any questions for Josh Brown? Sheriff, as always, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let's go to emergency management. Do we have Randy Thorpe? Randy.
Yes, you do, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Well, the word for this week is going to be more rain. According to the National Weather Service, we will be having a very strong atmospheric river coming over the Pacific Northwest this weekend, which means they're estimating between 2 and 5 inches of rain for the coast. Snow level will stay around the 2,500 foot level. But with this much water, they are predicting that we are going to see some increasing in our river levels right now. So because of this, we need to all be prepared and use a lot of caution while we're traveling around this weekend, because those rivers could get to a stage to where we could get a little bit of lowland flooding. They're not predicting anything major, but of course we could just get, a little bit of slop over. So we just need to make sure we are starting to become prepared for our flooding season. As far as the marine forecast, this is also kind of some severe weather going on. They're predicting gale force winds this weekend with seas reaching 14 to 16 feet high. So those of us, or those of you who like to recreate out in the ocean, again, this weekend is going to be kind of treacherous. So use extreme caution there. We have seen some pretty high waves the last couple of days. And so we are definitely into our pre-winter weather. So I just hope we can all stay prepared, stay on our toes, and make sure that we're ready for whatever this winter may bring us. And that's all I have for today, Commissioner.
Great, Randy, as always, thank you for being here. Appreciate it very much. And this being the first Tuesday of the month, we are pleased to have Bill Jablonski representing the Oregon Department of Transportation with us this morning. Bill, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Commissioner, and thank you. I'm using a different mic this time. I'm hoping that I'm still coming through okay.
We can hear you just fine.
Great, thanks. Again, Bill Jablonski. I am the ODOT area manager for the northwest corner of the state, and I am located in Astoria, Oregon. And just want to do an update on our Oregon 6 corridor study. As you know, that the legislature granted us ODOT permission to do the study through House Bill 4053. Just some updates as we get moving along with the public process. We're going into the fact-finding phase, which will be starting and kicking off with an online open house, which will be starting this week and will run for about 3 weeks. So folks will be able to go online and review the boards and the locations, and then be able to weigh in about their experiences on Oregon 6. This is the first phase of the study. I will send all this information via links to the commissioners for their meeting notes, and they can post it on their website as well too, even though I'm going to give you some dates today. We also have a couple of in-person tabling sessions scheduled for the next couple of weeks. The first one is going to be this Wednesday, November 2nd at the Tillamook Safeway. We will have staff on hand to take your comments in person, and you'll be able to fill out some note cards as well too, again, about your experience on Oregon 6. And then the next tabling session is Friday, November 11th at Jim's Market in Banks. There's another location where we'll have staff on hand to talk with folks in person and take their feedback on those experiences along Oregon 6. Other things I want to share with you is we mentioned the flooding and the amount of rain associated that we're getting this time of year. ODOT crews on Oregon 22 at mile point 6. If you've noticed, driven by that area, we just replaced 2 overflow pipes that will help, supposedly will help alleviate the flooding that we normally see in that section at mile point 6 on Highway 22. I just want to give a reminder to folks as we go into the winter season on de-icing. The telltale signs that the de-icer has been applied are those long, thin finger strips that you see on the highway. Just be cautious that even though you see the stripes there, doesn't mean that the de-icer is still active. So it does wear out over time, especially it gets dewatered with the amount of rain we have. We have to reapply it in the dry. So just be cautious when you still see those stripes. It's that it's been applied at some point, but we may not know the effectiveness of it. So please continue to drive with caution and care during the winter months. That's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Bill. Do we have any questions for Bill Jablonski? Bill, being the first Tuesday of the month, we appreciate so much you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, let's go to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Scar.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to follow up quickly on a comment made by Representative Weber. She was recognizing, I believe, the new signs that are at the Pioneer Museum, which is a wonderful thing. And those were put in through the Pioneer Museum with a grant from the from Visit Tillamook Coast. They had a sign grant. And so the museum was able to get that grant and then put a little bit more money with that and have the new updated signs, which we're all pleased since that's kind of the entry to our community. It's wonderful to have the new signs there matching the other signs in town and putting on a good face as people come through. So that's just answer to that question. I have been home on COVID quarantine, so I have had curtailed my activities a little bit, but am pleased to say that with our transition to most things being hybrid, I've been able to continue to participate in a lot of good work in the last week. One of the meetings that I attended yesterday that I thought was really interesting was for our Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan Steering Committee, but it was a presentation by the Oregon Climate Change Research Institute, and they presented their report on climate change impacts for Tillamook County. And it is a study that looks at what is expected over the next, they put it into 20 years and then 50 years, so that we could get a sense of the changes as we are seeing them now and how they are extrapolating those out into the future. So that we can just begin to prepare as to what may change for our communities and how we need to potentially build things differently. We may need to possibly mitigate some of the dangers that we see coming. So things that are along those lines do include the rise of our oceans. They include having wetter storms, as well as having drier summers. So there's some changes that we do expect to have over the next 50 years that will impact how we live on the coast. And it doesn't mean that we can't continue to live on the coast happily and healthily. It just means that there are some things we all are going to need to start looking at. So it was a really interesting report. You can find that report if you're interested in the full report on their website. And again, it's the Oregon Climate Change Research Institute, and it is staffed through Oregon State University. So it's something that definitely I encourage people to take a look at if you're curious and interested and want to know what challenges we may face that we may need to start mitigating for soon. Couple other meetings coming up this next week that you may want to participate in. The first one is our regular Thursday morning Housing Commission meeting. That takes place this Thursday at the Port of Tillamook Bay from 9 to 11. It is available both as an in-person and a hybrid meeting. And if you would like to find that hybrid link, it is on the community development page of the county website. You can click on the Housing Commission tab there and it will show you that link, and you're welcome to join us that way or to join us in person. So we have that one coming up this week. And then coming up on the 14th of November is going to be a Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency meeting. It will be the first meeting we have had in person for this group since COVID began, and it will be held from 9 to 2:30 at the ODF offices here in Tillamook. We will also be taking a tour during the middle portion of that meeting out at a section of the trail between Garibaldi and Barview, that corner right there, which is one of the most challenging sections of the trail. We've been having some conversations with ODOT because there are some pieces of that section that are really part of their work on that corner with the rock wall that I think we all look at each time we go around that corner and think, how long will this last? So we are going to go out and do a walk and talk on the trail, which should be really fun. This is, again, one of the most challenging corners of the trail, but it's also one of the highest priority sections of the trail. Not committing that we will do it right away, but just to take a look at it and to really dig into what is it going to take to turn that road and rail bed into a rail and trail and road section. So it's exciting for all of us on the Salmonberry to be getting back together. That is a very large project. It will certainly be many, many, many years in the making, but we're excited to begin to take bites of it, you know, one small section at a time to get it built. So with that, I will turn it back to you, Chair Yamamoto. Thank you.
Sorry, had to find the mute button. Thank you, Commissioner
I think
Scar.
we all had that moment.
Well, I've been on vacation, so I'm having to relearn all this stuff. So that's the way it goes. Thank you so much. Again, I have been on vacation. I just got back into Oregon on Sunday. But people that know me know that I can always talk about things, even though I apologize for not making the last community update call nor the last board meeting since I was out of country. But things continue to happen. Even when I was gone, I stayed up to date on some things happening at DEQ, the Department of Environmental Quality. There are concerns about air quality with our dairies, and I object strenuously to what the environmental community is trying to do here. I think if you look at the most recent science, you'll find that especially here in the state of Oregon, we don't have much in the way of air quality issues with our cattle, with our cows. But as always, there are those that disagree and would like us to place even more restrictions on our dairy. I was gone and was not able to provide public testimony. But I'm following this very carefully, as is AOC, the Association of Oregon Counties. So that's a good thing. The other issue also affecting dairies are CAFO regulations, confined animal feeding operations. And there is going to be a move in the upcoming legislative session to really increase the restrictions on CAFOs. And people don't realize that, we have some of the happiest cows in the nation right here in Oregon, especially in Tillamook County. And those that are looking at increasing our restrictions on CAFOs really are not taking into account what our farmers do on a regular basis here in Tillamook, especially in Tillamook County. But all across Oregon, I think you'll find that we do a good job, our natural resource-based industries. And one of the things that is never taken into account are the human issues here. So Tillamook County, most of our rural counties, we rely on our natural resource-based industries. And yet we continue to take care of our environment better than almost every other state in the nation. And people just don't understand the human consequences of taking away from our natural resource-based industries. They think that by increasing regulations, it's not harming anyone. But when you look at the employment, when you look at the revenue that the state and the counties and the communities bring in with our natural resource-based industries, especially the family wage fully benefited jobs. Those are things that most people that are against natural resource-based industries just don't take into account. And to me, that's a huge problem. So with that, I think I am going to turn this over to the cities. And I'm not sure we have anyone from the city of Manzanita. I know Mike Scott has told us that he is going to be backing away and he's hoping someone else from Manzanita would step up. Do we have anyone from the city of Manzanita? How about the city of Nehalem? Melissa Thompson Kiefer or anyone else from the city of Nehalem? City of Wheeler, do we have Mayor Doug Honeycutt or City Manager Mary Johnson? How about the city of Rockaway Beach? Mayor Sue Wilson? Let's move on to the city of Garibaldi. Mayor Tim Hall. Mayor.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Garibaldi has nothing to report this week.
Okay. Again, we appreciate you being here very much. Thank you for that. Move on to the city of Bay City. Do we have Mayor David McCall with us? Mayor McCall? City of Tillamook, City Manager Nathan George. Nathan.
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I do. Thank you very much. In the Public Works Department, our biggest push for their department this morning and this week is to sweep the streets to gather up as many leaves as possible with the rain we've been experiencing. excuse me, we are doing all we can to keep the catch basins free and clear of debris. You will note sometimes downtown, if you look, there's the ADA accessible ramps that have the yellow, and it's really hard. The street sweeper can't go up inside those little ramps and clean it, so sometimes you see a little extra debris there, just letting people know. We try to clean those out as much as we can, but we can't get them with the street sweeper. One area of concern for stormwater is on the west side of the Wilson River Loop and North Main Avenue intersection, which is between Fred Meyer and the Denny's/Starbucks Coffee Building. The city is working on trying to resolve this stormwater issue as soon as possible. The Public Works Department is also currently working on getting our water treatment plant back online after the rain event as well. The quick amount of rain we received muddied up the creek, which feeds the treatment plant, making treating the water very difficult. At the wastewater plant, the city is continuing work on capacity study for sewer capacity. We are also working with the engineering firm who's awarded the contract for the wastewater master plan in order to help resolve capacity issues to promote growth and development in the city, especially on the east side of the city. This is key to putting the infrastructure in place for our community's business and residential growth. And as I always say, for the Public Works Department, if you see a pothole or have any other concern or compliment for the Public Works Department, you may call our main number and follow the prompts of the Public Works Department, or you may email us at publicworks@tillamookor.gov. That's all one word, publicworks@tillamookor.gov. The City Planning Commission has 2 site plan review hearings on Thursday this week, November 7th at 7 p.m. in the City Hall. For more information on these site plan hearings, please go online to the city's website or call the city's planning department. And the City Council meeting will be held on Monday, November 7th, 2022 at City Hall. These meetings are open to the public, and we encourage anyone interested to attend. In the Police Department, our School Resource Officer, Trent Olson, completed the Oregon Child Abuse Forensic Interview Training. The Police Department attended and enjoyed the Tillamook High School ribbon cutting at the new sports complex. I believe Representative Weber spoke on that this morning, and then watched the football game, so go Mooks. Downtown trick-or-treating was a blast, and we went through over 2,000 pieces of candy. McGruff, the crime dog, Chief Rout, Sergeant Halls, and our school resource officer had a blast. And here at City Hall, we went through 250 pieces of candy as well. The reminder, homeowners may sign up for the Tillamook endorsed partnership with the Service Line Warranties of America program for your wastewater lines and lateral lines and your water lateral lines and indoor plumbing as well. And finally, remember, if you see something, please say something. This means please call 911 for emergencies or dispatch for non-emergencies. Please call, not post to social media when an emergency arises. We still have lots of people just posting to social media and not actually calling so the emergency service can be aware of it. And that's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Nathan, as always, very informative report. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Last but certainly not least, let's go to South County. Doug Olson. Doug, are you with us?
I am. Good morning, Commissioner. Nice to
Good
have
morning.
you back in Oregon again.
Thank you.
Several things. I'll start with putting my Tillamook PUD board director hat on again. Another conversation earlier about offshore wind, and I will say for the listeners here in Tillamook County, your PUD has no interest or contractual arrangements or any understandings with any of the offshore wind organizations, with the federal government, the state, or others. We're simply getting our electricity from BPA and passing it on to our many customers, about 22,000 customers. Now, of course, that could change since the federal government controls what goes on beyond the 3-mile limit of state waters. But for the time being, there's nothing at all that I'm aware of contemplated on the central or North Oregon coast. It's all in the Reedsport area and south. But if that changes, of course, everyone will know. But just to take off some of the alarm that Tillamook PUD is a party to some of this, not true. So that's number one. Number two, we had a really, really good Halloween party last Saturday. The Dorymen assembled some boats and they were decorated. And the Dorymen were in various costumes at the Kaiwanda Community Center. And the youngsters in the area gathered there. And I wasn't there, but I understand there were several hundred youngsters who showed up. So that was a good thing. And I think that's becoming a tradition here in South County. Third item, and this is something that hasn't happened for quite some time. Saturday afternoon, this coming Saturday at 1 o'clock, Nestucca High School, the football team, will play in a state tournament at the Cloverdale High School, Nestucca High School, which has a brand new field, by the way. It's absolutely beautiful, artificial turf. It looks just like Autzen Stadium or some of the other better venues in America. They're playing Umatilla, and it will be a quarterfinal game on the way to the state championship. So right now, Nestucca has finished the season with a 6-win, 2-loss record. I think the best in several years, so good for them. So finally, I'll switch over to what happens today. Our chamber meeting is at noon at the Kiawanda Community Center, our regular meeting. And today we will hear from Terry Cooper, who is the director of the Economic Development Council, and she'll be speaking to the proposed business license for businesses, all businesses in unincorporated Tillamook County. I mentioned this last week, and some people think that's a great idea, others not so much. So it's sure to be a very spirited discussion, and she'll be there. And I'm not sure, Commissioner, if you can make it or anyone else. I understand the other 2 commissioners are unable to make it, but if not, we'll just tell people that the county is intending to hold 2 hearings between now and the first of the year when this is scheduled to go into effect. And of course, that's a county decision, but as of the moment, it appears that's where it's headed. So we'll have a robust discussion today about who pays how much, how it's regulated, how it's modeled after certain other ordinances across Oregon. So if you've got an hour or so today at noon, come to the Kiawanda Community Center and you'll learn more than you maybe wanted ever to know about business licenses here in Tillamook County. So with that, Commissioner, thank you very much. Busy week ahead.
Thank you, Doug, as always, for being with us. And I do apologize, this being my first day back in the courthouse. Yesterday, I had to go to Portland for a doctor's appointment, but I'm kind of backed up today. So I apologize. I will not be available to attend the Pacific City Woods Chamber of Commerce, the Nestucca Valley Chamber of Commerce meeting. So sorry about that. So with that, I want to thank everyone for attending today, but special thanks to KTIL for broadcasting this community update live every Tuesday morning. And with that, time being 8:51 a.m., we will adjourn this community update. Thank you, everyone.